Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 4 of 31 can't miss albums that the world somehow missed out on. This is the show we're doing all month long here in May 2025, looking back at albums that should have been really big, that had all the qualities that a lot of other albums that were kind of similar had and were very successful, but yet these albums just kind of fell by the wayside. Maybe the record label just didn't promote them right. Maybe they were a little late or early to the game, right, with the style of music they were doing. But the albums are filled with great songs and potential hits, and these should have been massive hits, but they were pretty much ignored. So this is kind of like the severely underrated albums. And they could be by very, very well-known bands. Albums that just, in their catalog, it just did nothing, but they were as good as some of their classics, or bands that are a little more obscure, right? So today's band is a little bit more on the obscure. I've done some ones so far that are pretty notable bands. This one maybe not so much to some. To others might be a fairly notable band, and yeah, one of those head scratches, like why did this band not do big business out there in the wild, right? So this is the debut studio album by this American band. It was released August 19th, 1985, recorded at Total Access Studios in Redondo Beach, California, Pasha Studio and Cherokee Recording Studio in Hollywood, California. Produced by Michael Wagner for Atlantic Records. I'm talking about the debut album by Malice, In the Beginning. So, produced by Michael Wagner, Atlantic Records. Hello, McFly, you would think, big band. How many of you are scratching your heads right now saying, yeah, I don't have no clue who Malice was or is? Exactly. That's the issue here. So, also Ashley Howe produced a couple of the songs too, because they did this in multiple studios. But Michael Wagner did the bulk of the album. And of course, this is the Rock Candy reissue, which is excellent, I might add. So Malice were a heavy metal band. 1985, metal's pretty big right around this time. Man, you listen to this album and you think, what in the world happened that this did not catch the ears of the masses who were listening to bands like Maiden and Priest and, Dokken and Rat and all Metallica, all that other stuff, right? It's a mystery. It's a mystery, really is. This is a killer album. And, you take a look at them, right? You got all the leather and studs and long hair and stuff like that. They are not a glam metal band. Although, maybe the look kind of. But these guys are firmly in that Judas Priest kind of mold. Think Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith. Mixed with a little, I get a little in spots, again, a band that hadn't yet hit the scene. That's a couple years down the road. But if you like that first Skid Row album, couple of the more commercial tracks on here have that kind of Skid Row feel to them a little bit. But again, this predates that. So, maybe Skid Row were listening to Malice. It's very, very possible. But this album is full of memorable heavy metal tracks, loads and loads of cranking guitars, really good vocals, catchy hooks. I mean, it's got everything. Great guitar solos. We got James Neal on vocals, Mick Zane on lead guitar, Jay Reynolds on lead guitar, Mark Bain on bass, Taurus bass pedals, and Clifford Carruthers on drums. All right, like I said, Michael Wagner and Ashley Howe co-producing the album, Dwayne Barron, Alex Wolfman engineering. And let's talk a little bit about this record. So we have 10 songs on here. It's just chock full of anthems. There's some real heavy stuff on here. Like I said, there's a couple tracks that are a little more on the commercial side. Everything, though, is very memorable. Lots of great choruses, lots of great hooks, everything you'd want. Rockin' With You is a killer song to kick off the album. Again, the chorus is great. The riffs are great. It just draws you right into the album. Into the Ground, another killer track. Air Attack is excellent. And the songs are short, and for the most part, 3 to 5 minutes long, right? Nothing too long on here. There's only one track on here that goes above 6 minutes. Everything else is 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, right? Stellar Master, really good song, but I love Tarot Dealer, which is track number 5. It's a little on the slower side. A lot of these are kind of have that Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith kind of speedy, classic metal kind of sound to it. Tarot Dealer is a little bit slower than that, but still really good. Excellent chorus. Squeeze It Dry is great. Hell Rider is another one of my favorites on this album. Just killer riffing on that. Blazing leads, just really good. No Haven for the Raven is the longest track on here. That's excellent as well. Then you have the Unwanted, and then Perhaps in Here. This is a perfect example of how you end an album on a high note, right? We have talked so much in recent months doing ranking shows and things like that, and where bands will put like a light little ballad at the end of an album, and that's your final thoughts on the album, right? And especially if that song is kind of an outlier compared to the rest of the album, it doesn't make you want to sit through the whole album. You know that last song is going to be that kind of mellow track. You're like, all right, I'm done. I don't need to listen to that because there's nothing else coming after it. Not on this album, because this band ends their album with arguably the greatest song on the album, which is Gods of Thunder. Absolutely killer. I mean, what a fist-pumping anthemic chorus and just killer riffing, stampeding track. So memorable. Amazing. That's how you end an album, on a high note with arguably your best track. And this album starts great and ends great. And there's really no weak tracks on here. Everything is really, really good. It's a terrific, terrific debut. You know, they would follow it up with another album called License to Kill, which is also pretty good. I would argue this one is the better of the two, but we'll be doing a ranking show on Malice at some point in the not too distant future. So stay tuned for more info on this band. But yeah, that is my pick for today. Malice, In the Beginning, the debut album. Killer, killer stuff. Really, really great album. And of course, like I said, no charts, no certification, no nothing, yet there are potential singles on this album. And again, if you're someone who's buying stuff by Maiden, Priest, Metal Church, Metallica, like I said, Doc and Rat, all those bands, all the heavy bands at the time that were doing big business, Wasp, all that stuff. If you were into all that stuff and you Armored Saint and you somehow missed these guys, you owe it to yourself to go back and check out Malice. This should have been a really, really big band, and you just have to wonder, after those two albums that didn't really do much of anything, that kind of proved to be the death knell for them, which is a real shame, because very, very talented group. And, a lot of people who were into more obscure and underground metal from the 80s remember this band fondly. But unfortunately, the average metal listener probably is like, Malice? I don't know anything about Malice other than I know what the word means, right? I don't know anything about the band. So go check it out. If you are familiar with this, let us know what you think of it down in the comments below, but list your pick for today. Day number 4, and we'll see you tomorrow for number 5. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options. All down below. Thanks in advance for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. Don't touch that dial. We got ranking the album. Speaking of great 80s metal and hard rock bands, we got Icon coming up next. There are some similarities between the first album of Icon and this stuff as well. Icon's coming up in just a little bit. We've got Coney Hatch coming up in just a little bit. We got Rich Catino and Craig Kaminsky giving you a concert review of the Winger Bullet Boys show from the other night. That's also coming up today. Tomorrow, Hudson Valley Squares. Lots happening. Don't touch that. I will see you soon here. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.